It's like having a laptop or something. And this bag is yesterday?
Yeah, I left my laptop, but my bag and you will know how to in case it doesn't work on there. And of course, yeah, session you have to. Rather, she's good. She spoke with her.
No, sure not.
Huh? Give him both this. Okay. And to manage the life long distance. So you've given him only one word, if you give him both, then actually do. But then you will give the other one. So you don't need to for the maze. You don't need to use such a second. No, I'm telling you that. Just the wall and the gate is there. That
The way she was taking us there. Yeah, you're lucky it's been so long to be done.
as you say, you did some research
Yeah, on Northeast here. There's an institute called National Institute of Public Finance.
तुम अभी कहाँ पर वो लगा लो बोल के नागर को मैंने भी समझाया है कि क्यों दोनों से खोल सकते हैं तो ठीक है कभी कभी फंस जाते हैं एक बार ट्राई कर लो और फिर कल दे देना वो शादी So I said, no, I'm fine, don't worry. And then, no, when you come, please message me which one you are taking. I said, you are taking and together and so we had a group exams. Yeah, that was yeah.
I didn't go last year. It was great. Every time I've been, I've been 5 or 6 times. It's always been there.
Your kind attention, please. Good morning, everyone. The title of this session is The Making of a General. It is an absolute honor to welcome you all to governance and public policy in India. Officer and a first from the Northeast Studies, he currently serves as the chairman of the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Agartala, and is a member of the Consultative Committee of Public Service Commission and engineer. He was part of the Kanchenjunga expedition in 1987, embodying both resilience and determination in every sphere of his career. Engaging him in General of the National Security Guard, popularly known as NSG, India's elite counter-terrorism force. With over 25 years in the Intelligence Bureau, he has worked in service of the Ministry of External Affairs, for criminal justice at the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, trustee of Mission Smile and Vision Spring, and vice president and member for the Northeast, and public health and corporate governance, having served as the vice president of the Public Health Foundation of India and an independent director on the board of Gas Authority of India Limited. This promises to be an insightful discussion, bringing together unparalleled experience in national security, governance, and public policy. Let us now dive into this engaging conversation. Please join me in welcoming our SU seats in the dais. The forum is yours, sir. You may start us.
Good morning. Thank you for that very generous, both of our behalves. Thank you for the very generous introduction. Of course, the rapporteurs, I didn't get your names.
So my name is
Yes.
student of political science.
And yourself? Wonderful. So nice to have met all of you, and we are really fortunate to have with us one of the most distinguished General Staff Officers of the Indian Army. And for me, I'll start with a personal note, if I may. Because it's the rank of Lieutenant General. And in the Army, each rank is a struggle, a competition. Very, very few from each course, each batch. He had studied with all his other 8 brothers in this Graham Bajar Boys High School. And from there, at the age of 18, he joined commissioned from the IMA after independence. Indian Military College. There were people from public schools. There were people from the royal families when the state force was amalgamated. So it was a real struggle for them. They probably didn't even know how to eat properly with the right cutlery and crockery in the mess. But for him, 70 years later, to know that an officer from the Northeast had reached the rank of Lieutenant General, he has been very proud. So, what we will do is, we will start and then I'll ask my questions. Jan Konsambu.
Thank you, Jan Tata. May I call you Jan?
Sir, you are my boss here.
Thank you, Dr. Zain, everybody. To begin with, let me start by saying that I studied in Senior School called Para here in Assam, learned SMEs under Miss Indira Madhavan in Assam, and one of the reasons I have come here to Dibrugarh is that while in Golpara in Guwahati, everybody used to talk about Upper Assam, that I must come and see this Upper Assam. So it's like a homecoming for me, and I thank everybody who are present here. The reason why I close and our small reimagining as to how the youth of Northeast India and Manipur in particular should actually be part of the India's broad story. how do you do that? I said, I must share my childhood experiences with the young people of the present generation. That's why on my computer and key in those words and lines. This book is not, in fact I was wondering why have I been called in a literary festival. It's not really a literature in particular. Good. What I saw right from childhood of my village, that's 60, 70 years ago, until now, a lot of things would have changed. So I try to connect in terms of timelines, how I can best, so many errors, so many, you do so many things, where I have found that in a class 4 examination, incidentally in Manipur, class 5, 5th standard was a state board exam those days, in my time. So I say in a class 4 examination, I tried copying, because others were trying to copy. So I wanted to be part of the gang, I said, how can I do this? That kind of reflects SHRI School Golpara, another experience where the raw personalities of all people of Northeast India, that kind of atmosphere, though we are in a very far off jungle where hardly any, there was nothing, no facilities, but the teachers were super into a big journey of what are in operations in Mizoram of those days, in operations of Nagaland those days, Jammu Kashmir Islands. Cover this with my own personal experience. And then the title of the book, Making Over General, is precisely in that if, when I joined the National Defence Academy, they put me in lower English.
Lower English?
Yes, yes. Lower Hindi was common, everybody had to go to lower Hindi. So my teacher said, friend, you go to lower English class. So but I thought, I scored 72 in English, I thought I was reasonably okay. But they said, no, you're speaking, one can understand. So you go to, all of us including, most of how do you start developing others, as Jantuda had just mentioned, personality to develop as a metaphor. So I covered that. Of course, the Kargil War occupies little during Kargil War, in which that my battle was counted as one of the 3 turning points as a military man. More importantly, after my retirement is what shocked me, is what is happening in Northeast India. That is what I have tried to write about happenings in Manipur, the ethnic, what is happening in our borders in the Northeast India, and what is happening amongst the youth of our country, our Northeastern region. This thing, sir, you may thank you for this. I hope it was not a long introduction to my.
We could have, we could never get tired of your sharing. We don't have a copy over here, but we'll ask him to by recall to some of the sentences, some of the passages. But when he talks of this, go by train to join a SHRI School Golpara, we talk about the thick forests that were there at that time. It was the descriptions that he gave us. He's saying that he doesn't know why he's in a tree festival. It was almost poetic. That such beautiful lyrical language that he used. It's actually, please share them from us before we open it for questions and answers. Q&A.
Actually, I have a very, I recall one line in page number 213, because it is almost the final page of my book, where I have written 1,000, I'll just quote, I may be wrong 1 or 2 words because I don't exactly remember, but what I have said is, India's destiny is closely linked. While the resources of Northeast India have been exploited The human capital of Northeast India is exploited. In order to be part of this,
So I'm throwing it open for questions. Please ask whatever questions you have in mind. Please start off. Should I give this?
She just got the mic for
she is a volunteer.
Okay, it's just mission of being the first person from Northeast to reach such a high position in the armed forces. Of course, this is a question I'm sure, that is the central theme of the book. I'm sorry, I haven't yet read the book. I've read very good reading, coming from the small place, not small place, maybe also very different community. Because in the forces, one thing we all people in or some kind of a common goal from a very different region, from cultural discipline, how the two matters.
Before my school, Air Marshal Borbora. Air Marshal Borbora, only that I had introduced. So don't get me wrong, we have very illustrious predecessors. Coming to your question, a lot of people used to ask me as to how is it that the first brigadier from Northeast India was Brigadier Silo, who later became Mizoram Chief Minister. He became brigadier sometime in 1967, 68. That is the time when we were in school. How is it that no one from the entire region has become attended rank? People said this is discrimination as part of. In fact, can I quote a small line from my diary, which I have written in my book? That year in 1967, when he became the first brigadier, I wrote in my diary, I was a 10-year-old boy, that one day I want to become brigadier in the army. And that diary, daughters and sons. So there is that element of, I think this is more to do our own understanding of self, rather than an environmental factor that prohibits you from, it's a self-created kind of a notion. Do you understand what I'm trying to connect?
This was your vision for yourself.
That, as you rightly said, everything is objective not in any objective anywhere. It is what you give in the input. Because as it is, you perceive yourself psychologically as a little, and actually scored 72% in English in NDA, but yet I was in that. So it's a shock kind of a thing. On top of that, when I joined, and then how do we do it? You have to make up by, in fact I started learning raginis, to begin with. You know what is a ragini? It's a song, it's like a folk song which people sing at home and in gatherings. Rajasthani, Rajput, extra mile. Basically that's what I would say, and get out this notion that we are,
Yes.
how we are. In fact, before I became a commanding officer is the time when you start commanding 1,000 people. And one day I asked my daughter that I will speak something and let me know whether you understand that. She said, Papa, I have not understood anything what you said. So it was just a setback. Setback. I started learning, I memorizing a few words. So one has to go around to actually eliminate those self, really, real or imaginary, but after all we are dealing with thousands of people. When you rise to a little rank higher, colonels and above. I hope short question but a long answer.
Okay, any next question? Yes, please go ahead. Sorry, we first.
Hello sir, my name is Dhruva Interior Village in Manipur. You joined. How did this school prepare 9 years old? You wrote in your personal diary, which is a must higher rank, to becoming first officer from Northeast India, to becoming 3-star general. So,
What's your name?
my name is Dhruva Bargohai, Political Science Department.
Actually, all. Am I right?
Sir.
You know, the first time when we visited from Imphal to Golpara, it took 3 days for us to reach Golpara. It was a first cultural shock. Means friends from Meghalaya was then no. Many were there who came from English school background, English medium background, like particularly students from Shillong. They spoke good English. Then people who were in English-speaking, schools. But we were from Manipuri medium, and I was in human relationship. There are individual and a group behavior, and the adaptation was very quick, I'll say. I think another 2-3 years, I could speak Assamese very fluently. I could understand Assamese first, in 2 years. In about 3 to 4 years, I could speak Assamese well. And I think I owe it to the Lieutenant Colonel D.S. Sani. Headmaster was Major Vyas, and our teachers, Mr. Sonowal, Mr. Tirki. I think the best of results in National Defence Academy, the best engineers, many good doctors of that time, or landing into a strange environment right from a village school where I used to catch fish, where I used to be hunting. Become this, the parents are very important, but I think finally, build upon towards self-improvement, whether it is physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, in every sphere. One perfection, but little aim towards self-improvement in every, by reading, by practicing. That is an individual effort. All parents, teachers, your friends, your books can guide you, but that has to be done by you. Help you, but you have to have that moral courage. You have to have that in you. First book was Romancing the Line of Control. See, is undefined international border is called defined. Just like, in Jammu and Kashmir, it is called LOC, Line of Control. It means it's not a formalized. So my first book was Romancing the Line of Control, because I spent close to 14 years on the line of control with Pakistan and China. You have a passion. It's not so romantic, don't get me wrong. On the line of control, every day there is killing, okay? But I call it romancing, the LOC, because that was my passion. Whether as a lieutenant or it was joy. That is how you succeed in whatever you want to do. And I don't think, I'll repeat, the self-created ideas about this, I will like that, that's not going to work. Grow out of this and be a free bird to compete outside. In military, actually, it's not really competing, it is about doing your job.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Yes, please go ahead.
This is the first time I have interacting with a general in person. In 2012, there was a report in Indian Express that under General VK Singh, in the form of a military coup. I want to ask you, what was the situation in Indian Army at that point of time, and what was how does this news affected Indian Army as an institution?
Your question appears to be loaded with little politics, but I'll answer the military way. Okay. Don't believe in such narratives. I was commanding a body of approximately, about 17,000 troops that time. It was, as you know, the situation that time was very, very volatile, international relations, India's neighborhood, Kashmir, and also there was a little stress between the relationship between the army chief and the government that time. He was my boss. General VK Singh is now governor of Mizoram. So, but nothing of the kind that, let me make it very clear. The military today, I think we have our education, our any sane mind will. Some people still feel, that Manekshaw could have done this. These are all story. I can't comment about 1970s. Believe me, today's military is so professional. Believe me, today's leadership is so well groomed. Even if they are not well groomed, they will not think about what you just said. I don't want to mention that word also. Anybody even think of that? Even the same thing goes in 2012, what you just said. By the way, you got this from Indian Express.
Yes.
Does it answer your question, or you want me to reveal anything else?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Regarding your journey, and then the trouble with your language, you had a problem with language, and in India we are facing this problem of language because what should be our national language? We have Hindi as our national language, but then what about English? To you in English language, and I think it's the lingua franca of our country. And then why are we trying to, we want to learn our mother tongues. Well, it's good that we know our mother tongue, we must learn our mother tongues, but then can't we take, as you faced once upon a time, or do you say that, no, our mother language is enough to build a career? And then secondly, sir, regarding your line of romanticizing the LOC, in future, will we have a romantic relationship with all our border countries? Yes, thank you. I'm SHRI Chaudhary.
Very insightful questions, but always issue as such. But as an individual capacity, I can only say that the mother tongue has to be developed. At the same time, we have, mother tongue is one part, but to keep all the mother tongue, incidentally, Ambedkar, B.R. Ambedkar, during constitutional draft, he wrote that there are 3,000 ethnicity groups in India. 3,000. So what is that glue which is going to keep all of them together? In that, maybe English, Hindi and all this, Sanskrit and all this might come. But developing the mother tongue is important. That is my personal view, but official comment. But you need a glue. You said, madam, that I had a problem scoring 72% NDA teacher. But the fact remains that we have, one of the fulcrums, actually the framework of communication skills. With that, in today's world, we are not going to succeed. Whether in any department, right from politics to military to police or anything, without you are a highly, super high so therefore, I think language skills, communication skills form part of that, language learning. My daughter couldn't understand what I was trying to speak to my own troops. Then I said something is heavily wrong with me, and I have to rectify my improve ourselves into this challenge.
Second part of the question, the LOC and the neighboring countries.
Yeah, LOC. Unfortunately, the security environment of any country is not just about military or a police or anything. It is national relations, trade, commerce, or in military terms. And combine effect of your leadership, culture and everything. So in this, we are a very small part of this entire comprehensive national part. But unfortunately, what has happened is all the recent being Bangladesh, even Myanmar, it will never end, and Jayant will not give me so much of time also, and he knows I can't in the intelligence sector for so lot of government of India to this LOC and borders. Now, I don't see it improving in the short term, particularly in Myanmar. Issues Myanmar and Bangladesh have so much of cultural and historical connect, yet we are into this. So I think it is about our the government. I think many people have tried people to people connect and all that, but it's right now. So I cannot really comment too much beyond this. Sorry, ma'am, you are a retired principal, but the question should have been put to Jayantata. Jayantata, you like to add?
You are asking, we all know where you were and where you are now. So, thank you. Any other questions from the audience?
Thank you to describe how your
was asking me, why a conscious decision, my wife is to settle down in Manipur. As you know, you all must be knowing what is happening in Manipur. Yes. It's not a very happy situation. And it has mostly been like this, except for a brief period in between. So your question is that how do you manage last 8 years? Firstly, after retirement, the first thing I did was to do a PhD, because I didn't have much to. Then when I did a PhD, the Manipur University wanted me to establish a department called Department of National Security Studies. I said I grabbed it. I told Vice Chancellor that I would love to do this. That Manipur was so engrossed in ethnic issues and also not only security, social issues about religion and about the developmental issues, about border issues, about drug, poppy, whatever. I was amazed at the scale of deprivation even amongst the people. I said, is this what the reality? Then I went deeper and then I found that things are worse in reality. I didn't see much things. So slowly, I tried to engage myself with like-minded people, trying sometimes with the government, sometimes with NGOs, sometimes. That also gave me a lot of satisfaction. Doing things with the students and ex-servicemen community, or I was the chairman of Public Service Commission. You know, every state has got a Public Service Commission. Are you all aware? Like, a lot of people told me not to accept it because it was undergoing all of similar thing happened in Assam also. Similar appointments of civil service officers and things like that. So I requested the chief minister, give me 2 days to think. Then my wife told me, why 2 days? If you have to decide whether you take the challenge or not. There is nothing like, trying to study the problem out. So I rang up the CM, yes, I'll take it up. He said, you know what you're going into, expect any interference from you on that condition, I'll join. He did. Then as you grow further, you find that people have not been promoted for 15 years. In fact, my classmates from SHRI School from last about 35 years and we are going to retire. I said, how can that be? Show me your rules. So they had some system, this DPC, we call departmental promotion committees. So they gave me the list. Overnight, thousands teachers and all that, overnight. They didn't know they had been promoted also. They were deprived for nearly 20, 30 years. Well, who could have been even better than me in class. They joined as section officer and they were retiring as section officer. I said, just get it here. So that was, but that gave there were a lot of positions also. In fact, one minister told me, we'll have to have so many crores of rupees if you promote. I said, that is not my job, that is your job. So what I'm trying to tell you is that journey is only getting more and more enjoyable. But you have to face the challenges and you enjoy what you're doing. These scholars and all that, so you enjoy. Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Now a lot of women, girls are joining the army. So girls should not stay silent. You must ask questions. Anyone amongst you? How many are from here? You don't have an NCC unit in the college? You have, no? But perhaps they're not in this session. All right. I'll ask a question then. You have mentioned even in your introductory remarks that the experience in Kargil was something that you think was the peak of your experience as a commander on the ground. Now you mentioned that 27, which is one of the turning points of the war, and that would be something we'd like to hear about. The experience of that battle.
Thank you, sir. Is there Ms. Saikia here? Ms. Saikia is a volunteer who keeps ringing me up, you go there, you go there. Not here? Okay. After you finish your graduation, she said campus placement or something. So I said, last year, how many were placed from your department? She said, none. So I said, then why don't you try for Army, Navy, Air Force? She said, how can we have this word, Air Force? I said, you have to just decide. He said, really, sir? I said, yes. The point I'm trying to drive home is exactly related to my initial thing. Don't hesitate. The world is wide open for you. You can join the army. You can join the military. The army today is so gender neutral, except in fighting arms like infantry, which I am from, or armored corps, the tank people. Otherwise, you contribute so much. I see many girls here blocked by this idea. It is a wide world. Only you have to be prepared for it. That's why. Jantada's question was about the 0.5770. When we said 0.5770, it's approximately during Kargil war. and knew where is the enemy. That time the satellite photography or our intelligence was not very up to the mark as it is now. We have to evict them. So I had these people, and 0.5770 was the most strategic, dominating approximately 50 square kilometers of territory. Way we could have or wall-like mountain, heavy deployment of weapons, artillery from their side. We were ordered, and I said, done, we have to do it. Only the interesting part, not from military point of view, I decided that the first thing is that it has to be totally unconventional. We should take them by surprise. How do you take them by surprise when they also have the drones? That time they use UAVs. So how do we do it? I decided totally again, I would have been court-martialed. I said, we'll attack by day. Just see how it changes history and how it changes. In fact, it was it added to my rise to next ranks. But the risk is yours. And it will be a fixed rope kind of a thing. You fixed rope, all that, as far as possible at night. I was there myself, so that the soldiers could climb a little faster during day. Take the most difficult route, like you have to do in your lives. Take the most difficult route, because the easier ones are known, that the possibilities are known. The most difficult ones, you will never realize you can do it. In today's war, today's battles, you have to use a lot of explosives, bombs from the air and from the artillery and all that. You bombard, you try to destroy the enemy before going to, contact battle. I decided I will not do any of that. No artillery. I told my boss, do you want me to put it in writing? He said, no, don't do that, because I'll be endorsing what you're going to do. If you fail, you might be court-martialed. I said, I'm ready for that. So it was a huge risk. I'll give a little angle to it also. Actually, the success was on 27th of June 1999 during Kargil War. 25th we tried, and we had failed because of us. The altitude we are talking about is that you and I, we are breathing oxygen, 10% of what we are getting, oxygen, 10 steps at one go. Glaciers, you touch those ice, with your bare hand, you're going to catch frostbite within no time. And you look at the sun, to welcome you in a manner. That was a challenge. And all this, we said, ask my troops, any volunteers? Most of them volunteered. I said, okay, we go. So on 25th, we failed actually because of the blizzard condition. Blizzard is nothing but strong winds with snowfall. -30, -40 degrees Celsius. That is the condition where you fight a battle there. -40. Right now we must be at least 27 degrees, 25. -35 degrees Celsius where we have to fight. Where the weapons don't work. In fact, our own weapons stopped functioning. So we had to snatch the Pakistani weapons to kill them. I had another very interesting story. On 27th, why I chose 27th of June was, my unit number was 27. And 27 Hanuman Chalisa. So this is how we cannot fail today. That belief, self-belief. Self-belief, very important. They never thought they will get even injured on Tuesday, because Hanuman is with us. Just see how you motivate the context and try. One guy I found was walking without ammunition. He was carrying on the, I I caught him. So he laughed. He said, "Sir, abhi kahan mile jara aise?" No, entire atmosphere, not a very as a threat to, and mind you, if the surprise was lost, I think very few of us would have been alive actually. That was a risk taking. And that risk is yours alone as a commander. Fortunately, surprise we gained. Fortunately, the ropes that we had fixed over a period of 4 nights, those ropes. And unfortunately, our weapons didn't work. So first thing our boys did was to how to get their weapons to them. Imagine -30, you have a nice weather. They would like to, spread their body and get sunshine. During that time, 2 p.m. And that was, I wasn't exactly there. I was about 500 meters away because the enemy could not see our troops and our troops could not see us at daytime. So that was most, I'll say, satisfying moment. Had it failed, I would have certainly been either dead or court-martialed. So some risk you have to take helps those who help themselves.
Fortune favors the brave.
Fortune favors the brave. This is what I was looking for.
Yes,
thank you. So it is very short. This is what, since you told me to describe.
Wonderful battle, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Give him a hand. This is absolutely. No, actually, General, you've given us an insight into 230 of them being killed is high. That is the job of yours as a commander. And you also gave us an insight into the regimental system. When you talked about 27 Rajput and how they have this great faith that Lord Hanuman would support them. So these are, think of it, as a commander, he had to tell his men, we are going to take this and you might die, but yet you go on. And your own, the fact that you were with them, I think this is what motivated them. Now taking a step back into what the general had talked about joining the armed forces, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle. That's what they say. The kind of bonding that you have, the kind of the camaraderie, everything that you have, it's something that you get in very, very few other professions. I know you have dealt with it in your to encourage them to join the armed forces.
Madam, please. Before I come to that, sir, yes, was reminded of a small paragraph in my book. Just to keep the atmosphere light, Hindi, I was taking a class on fear, and General V.K. Singh was the commanding officer. I was a major then. So he came around, he said, Himalaya, what are you doing? So I said, sir, this is about the junior leaders, class. It was a very hot summer there. He said, what is the topic of your, talk? I said, fear and panic. So he said, can I ask them questions? I said, yeah. So he asked the Jawans. I was a major and I was directly under. So he said, हाँ बताओ fear क्या होता है, panic क्या होता है? साहब fear होता है डर, because he was going by my teaching to them. Now it is the language part. Fear होता है डर, जो हमारे लेवल में होता है, जवान लेवल में. Panic होता है ऊंचे दर्जे का डर, जो what do I answer to my commanding officer? I have written this in page number 49 or something. And General V.K. Singh went off. What I had told the soldiers was that panic, how do I describe panic in Hindi, That. So the Jawan, all Havaldars are going to become that assistant sub-inspector type, inspector type. Naik Subedar. So he understood that ऊंचे दर्जे का means officer level में ही होगा. That is how he did that. That was in the lighter vein. I hope you all understood. So, sir, question was related to the
lifestyle,
bonding. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the unit I commanded during Kargil war here in near Thakurwari. Out of 1,000, when I visited, I'm talking about just 2 months back. I mean, I relieved all, I commanded the unit 1997, that was maybe 27 years ago. But the warmth, the love and affection, firstly, they told me that you cannot come alone. You have to come with madam and your children. And if there are any friends of yours. Otherwise, they say, don't come. I mean, just see how the bonding is that we know if I get killed, if there is, I'll give you one example from my book. During Kargil war, 5 of my men got lost. And I was in radio communication with the lost party, 5. And he had gone across to very near to a Pakistani area, and they would have been captured also. Then he was trying to locate, communicate with his boss. His boss was a major. I was a colonel. The finest moment of my life was, that's how we know we'll be alive. Our commanding officer, that is me, our commanding officer, as long as he's around, we know that he will get us alive.
Wow.
What a compliment. This is, I told you that how to make up for my lack of, understanding about the troops, catch their, not just the officer-man relationship, but it is to get into the mind, to the psyche of people. Are you understanding?
Fantastic. What a fantastic.
This is how the army functions. This is how the Air Force and the Navy, all 3 services function. Because when we get seen that famous Jedwood motto.
Yes, I have. My father was in the army, actually.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Rajrif.
Rajputana Rifles.
Yeah, and was the same in Gento's batch.
Very nice.
Same.
They were part of my father's same
Yeah,
course.
of course.
But then he left to join the Indian Frontier Administrative Service.
Oh, madam, then I think you should be talking about family.
And I've been to your school in Gwalpara because we were in Borpeta, so a lot of things.
Thank you, madam, thank you. Then you only comes first, always and every time. Next, in order of priority is your men you command. And the last priority is yourself. This is how we have been groomed. Not only groomed, I mean, it is in our blood now. We can't do anything about it.
Each and every time is yourself.
Yeah. I'm not quoting the, because I might just miss out and madam may just catch me. Madam may just catch me. That is the ethos. In fact, that is what keeps the Indian Army. Finally, victory will be by these guts of these people. How the Ukrainians are fighting the Russians. The guts of
Sheer guts.
Sheer guts. So, if you want a strong nation, don't wait. We don't wait for. I give you the example. Our light machine gun failed to fire in that height. Process mentally. We don't look around. Assault, a court-martial offense. I took it. I asked my boss, do you want me to give it in writing? So that, that's how the military way of life. It is a way of life, as Jayantadai has said. It's not just a normal services. That's why I want you all to at least try for some military life. Think about it. And same goes with the police today. Central Armed Police Forces, CRP, BSF, ITBP, you have so much of this thing here. There, today's warfare is not one-to-one. It's grey zone warfare. So even if you join the police forces, they're waiting for you to serve the country in this manner. The only difference, everyone does your job. As a student, as a teacher, as a doctor, as an administrator, everyone is loyal to the country. But the only difference is here, happily. We sign. Whether you do it happily or not, that's different.
What a lovely ending to your service. Give him a round of applause. I did such a wonderful talk. Thank you very much. And now hand it over back to Dr. Hussain.
Thank you, sir. So first of all, again, from the organizing committee, the sharpest minds and are groomed through years of training in communicating in the most effective and efficient manner. This is what we believe, and what freedom of speech too carelessly, which is not done by people in the forces. They are always restrained and put constraints. Given us valuable insights into leadership, resilience and national service, Lieutenant General retired Konsam Himalay Singh Sir's journey from a village in Manipur to becoming the first Northeastern officer to attain the rank of Lieutenant General is a testament to determination and excellence. His transition from military service to academia and governance, including earning a PhD and leading the Manipur Public Service Commission, sir, highlights his continued commitment to nation building. In conversation with Shri Jayantanarayan Chaudhary, sir, whose extensive experience in national... On behalf of everyone here, I extend our deepest gratitude to our esteemed speakers for sharing their experiences and wisdom. Thank you all for being part of this inspiring session today. Thank you.